I've always found it quite odd on YouTube where sometimes people are cool with me, like people that are, white supremacists are cool with me until they find out I'm not a white supremacist. Now, what's funny about this is anybody that's followed my channel, and most of the time these folks are people that have followed my channel quite diligently and are huge fans of mine. They tend to be surprised when I point out, I'm not a white supremacist. I believe in hybridization. I believe in things of this nature. This is not new. This goes back to the birth of this channel. I'm a eugenist, but I believe in hybridization. I also believe in euthenics, which is the implementation of environmental standards like education, nutrition, things like that, to help elicit epigenetic responses that make the organism healthier, stronger, etc. I find it strange that people are shocked by me stating I'm not a white supremacist. It does shock me somewhat that people are this perplexed that I'm not a white supremacist. I've never promoted white supremacy on this channel. I have promoted racial awareness, white racial awareness, and for white people to start understanding that they need to start behaving like minority groups and fighting for their own racial, economic, and social justice, even though I believe it's a lost cause now for the white people to do this, because white people, the ones that are interested in this, are interested in LARPing and playing at being members of the Third Reich or the Ananurbe or the Thule Society or Thule Society or what have you. And it's a big problem. Instead of trying to put something out there that's socially or politically viable, that could actually save white Americans or white Europeans in some cases. I'm more about the white Americans. I'm more concerned about what's going on in America. Instead of putting out something that's viable and that could be used, instead of fighting for racial, economic, and social justice for white Americans and professing this, a lot of people like to LARP as white supremacists. I don't think I've not been a white supremacist because it's not what has objectively come to view. Now, if we're basing everything on the past, perhaps, but we don't live in the past, we live in the present. And the behavior of at least white Americans and white Europeans that I'm seeing is not, and white South Africans, this is not behavior that speaks of supremacy. This is behavior that speaks of inferiority and hiding behind paper tigers and false idols and all sorts of stuff. I did a whole, now I did take it down so I didn't get taken down for talking about Asatru and how Asatru is pathetic. And it's similar to the Cherokee Booger Dance. And the Cherokee Booger Dance was a thing that was created by the Cherokee to mock their white Anglo-Saxon Protestant conquerors. And it was a joke. And I see nothing more of a lot of these resurrections of ancient Aryan stuff to be a revival of, or not even a revival. It's we was. It's we was. I made a whole thing about, and I took that down too, for someone. It was called We Was Spaniards, and it was about how Latin Americans that are clearly not Spaniards like to LARP as Spaniards because they like to think they're Spaniards. Anything besides what they are, when they're actually mostly Amerindian or of mixed a mixed heritage. And I think that people should be proud of who and what they are and not try to be what they are not. It doesn't mean, and the thing is, I've talked about the failures of psychometric testing in eugenics. I've talked about it. This is all in the description. It goes back years. I don't understand why people are so confused. I've talked about how National Socialism fights for social justice. Okay? If you want to be a National Socialist, throw that conservatism bullshit and throw that libertarian bullshit out the window and accept that you need to fight for racial, economic, and social justice for your people. Okay? And just because you're fighting for racial, social, and economic justice for your people doesn't mean you have to leave everyone else out. But it does mean that you have to look toward your people first. But the thing is, you need to understand that you need to start looking toward these minority groups like La Raza, like some of these black activist groups like Black Lives Matter. Start to look at what they did. How did they do this? How can we do this? People think I'm some kind of lunatic when I say, and I have. I've started embracing Stalinism. Okay, straight up Stalinism, because you know what? That's going to deliver. Now, I can't make it politically viable because nobody else will embrace it. They want to embrace these frou-frou forms of communism. But my point is, I've started embracing Stalinism because Stalinism works. Okay, it works for what our people as well as the people, the American people need. It's what is better than what I was promoting years back. And I've made videos about this, about communism with U.S. values, and how essentially communism with U.S. values is Roosevelt-style progressivism with a little bit more pep in its step. And I don't understand what people have, the disconnect people have. I have not been a white supremacist for many, many, many years. I have promoted human hybridization. I promoted the cosmic race since before I even knew what the cosmic race was. This should not be a news flash to people following my channel. One of my biggest problems with this idea of a master race, now this is what you need to understand, and I'm going to put a link to how Europeans are not one race. White people, white is a political term. I myself am like an 8th Italian and Sicilian. So, I don't know, there's like a 16th of each, I guess. I don't frickin' know. But I have to get a DNA test. But my point is, the so-called European race is not a race. It's multiple subgroupings of the Caucasoid race. Other members of the Caucasoid race include Semitics and other people that would not necessarily be considered Caucasoid. So I think what people need to understand is, when you really get down to the nitty-gritty and you really want to look at it biologically and scientifically, you really have to reflect on what is what. And hybridization causes benefit to the offspring. This is not a joke. It's not a lie. It is the truth. When you stop looking at things ideologically and start looking at things scientifically and embracing the science behind the situation, you get a different outlook than if you're thinking straight ideologically. I have my own views. I don't hide my views about much. I hide my views enough that I don't get banned from YouTube, but sometimes that doesn't work. But my point is that this is absurd for people to think that I'm somehow indebted to white people. I spent most of my life trying to wake white people up. Literally the majority of my life. Okay? And pretty much all of my adult life. You know, there comes a time when you have to say, enough is enough, nobody's waking up. And the ones that are awake are in another dream. They're not embracing what they need to embrace to succeed. They're embracing what they need to LARP. That's all for this video. Do check the links in the description now.